Okay, I'm a chocolate chip. We had some x-rays taken, and he put some shoes on him, a square shoe, to try to help with the breakover, to get his toes out of the way. So now we're going to see how it goes. He feels better. He doesn't feel as ouchy as he did before, but we have to see, did it help with the tripping or not. So I still have to ride him because I know some of the tripping is due to laziness, so I got to make sure he still pays attention, because although these things help that we do, it usually doesn't completely fix it. Some of it's us and the horse's temperament, because lazy horses tend to drag their feet more. So he's doing better going down the smaller hills because he was heavy in the beginning. So he is rocking back on his back end. He used to do it down the really steep ones, but not the little ones. And he feels like he's walking better and his gait is better. So going up those rocks was better. He still might hit his feet on some stuff, because it helped get his feet higher, but not a lot higher, just a little bit. So I don't care if he hits some stuff as long as he's not stumbling. If that makes sense to you guys. You'll see he still is trying to look around, so we can't let him do that because he's got to pay attention to where we're going. Okay, so what I've noticed, he's not stumbling as much. He still tries to look around, so I have to keep correcting him that, but again, that's something that he's probably been doing for years, so it takes a while for them to believe that they need to keep their head straight. But he's definitely not tripping as much. He is catching his toes once in a while over things if they're high. And now I know how high he can clear his feet, so I just try to make him pay attention, but I'm not on his case hardly as much as I was when he didn't have shoes on. So there's rocks coming up right here. We'll see if he hits them. No, but I did hit him a little bit with my spur since I saw the rock. So if you see stuff, you just want to make sure he's paying attention and he's awake, and just hit him with the spur or the stick or slide the bit with something. And if you don't see it, that's okay. But the more we can just remind him to stay awake, the better. Okay, so now we have to go over these bunch of rocks down here. So we'll see. There's a big root sticking out right here. So you heard him clip that rock, but he didn't stumble. That was quite good. Good job, buddy. I'm keeping his head as I'm gating him kind of at the level of my horn, because again he was pacing, and so that helps his gait. He rounds his back more, and I'm trying to get him use a little bit more of different muscles. And again, if we can get that gait better, so he's less pacey, and he's really not that much anymore, that should also help with his stumbling. But overall, I'm happy with his progress. I would keep him trotting a lot in the round pen and going over poles. It takes a while for them to build up muscles, and then just getting him to pay attention on the trail. If you see stuff coming up, you just make sure he's awake. But so far, he only tripped once that I stopped and backed him up, and it was just because he wasn't paying attention. But the rest of it, he's cleared them pretty well. You might tap them, but that's about it. Everything going uphill, I push him. Oh, see, that's a really nice gait. But I'm trying to get him to use his back end more. I did switch the bit. He's in the Wonder bit. It has a twist in it. And before we had a correction bit in his mouth. I like this much better. He bends better with it. He's not leaning so much to the right. And all of that is much better. So far with him, this is my favorite bit for him. It gives me control. I can bend him. He's not leaning on it. He's not putting his tongue out like he did with the correction bit. He seems quite happy with it. Again, anywhere it goes uphill a little bit, I am trying to push a little bit, not so much for a lot of speed, but for more speed, and to get him to engage his back end and get the weight on his back end. And his gait is getting better and smoother, and it's not so choppy, and it's not so short-strided either like it was before. So I think if you keep it up, he's going to do much, much better. Okay, so now we're going a little uphill on this path again. And I just have a light contact on him. You know, like I always say, like I'm holding birds in between my hands. Look at him gaiting out. Here's feet. He just went over a rock. He didn't touch that one at all. Okay, so we're going over rocks right now. I slowed down because I was moving something. We just went over rocks again, didn't touch those. So you'll see now his head's a little higher. We're going to go over rocks in a second. So I brought it down a little bit. Because he's like, I know how to do that racking gait if you want to do that instead. And I'm like, no, you're still in training, so we're going to build up his muscles. Okay, so this is what I did the other day. So it's nice if you can repeat the same thing once you've done something to change them. So there he just stubbed his foot, but that wasn't bad. To see how much of a difference there is. If you keep riding different trails, you won't really know. So whenever you're changing things, just do the same thing over and over again so you can see if there's a difference. Here's the test. I'm going to let him go on a loose rein. Still, if he turns his head, I'm going to straighten it even though my reins are long. But this is setting him up to trip because now all his, weight's going on his front end. But even with this, he's still gaiting pretty well. So there he just hit the rock, but he didn't stumble. Again, each horse has their own conformation and breeding, and so he's better, but I can't make him something that he's not. He's still chocolate chip. He's just a better version of it, right? 1.0 or something. So he brings his head down much better in this bit. I'm just sliding the bit or holding some pressure. I got some rocks coming right up. We'll aim at him and see what happens. So not bad. He hit him, but not stumbling like he did before. When you're working up horses that are tripping, you're trying to do everything to help them. And you got to remember, it's not just the horse, it's us riding it too. If they're lazy and we're lazy, that's a bad match. Just like if they're hyper and we're hyper, that's a bad match there. So if they're lazy and they're tripping, you got to get more of an active rider for that horse and do things to help them. But If you're not going to do anything to help him, that's the wrong horse for you. Okay, so now we're going uphill. So he knows his job. He knows, like, I'm supposed to engage myself and push up this hill, right? Oh, that was nice. See? Anytime you get little bits of greatness, you're like, that's what this horse would be able to do if I condition him right. He'll be able to do that all the time. And he does have some greatness in him. But going over these rocks, he is much, much happier with these shoes than he was with the boots. Again, he's hitting some, but he's not tripping. I mean, I get stuff with my feet too. It's just like some people pick their feet up higher, some of us don't. Some of us don't. I just keep reminding him when he's looking around to pay attention to where we're going. Okay, let's try stopping and back up. Oh, good boy. Look at that. Oh, so nice. So nice. Yeah, you're doing great. Good boy. Okay. So, very good stop, very nice backup, and I haven't done many today, so. I think he's got a much better flow on him. It's just, practicing that every ride so you don't forget. Put a couple stops in and back up. I'd still stay slow down the hill for two things. Make sure he's paying attention to his feet so he doesn't get pacey. And just make sure you have a good footfall and it doesn't feel pacey at all when you start going uphill. Otherwise, stop, back him up, and just start again. And then I would practice, like this is a long uphill, so I'm just leg yielding and back and forth. Shorten my reins a little. So he got his head up, and he's going more towards the rack and gate. But I'm trying to work on his running walk right now, so brought it back down. I just keep sliding the bit to bring his head back down. Now he's pushing with his back end, which he did not do when he first came here. So I can feel him pushing me up the hill. He's like on it because I don't want to do this 20 times today, Gaye. So that was quite nice. Very nice gait, not pacey at all, not stumbling. He's not sore. Good boy. So I'm going to give him a little reward because that was great. He really motored up that. And then oh, that's disgusting. I almost wiped that spit on my face. And then I'm going to try and canter this because last time I cantered it, his boot went flying. So I want to make sure canter in case she wants to try it. Okay, let's go back down the hill. He's like, oh, really? I tried to be so good. So for 2 months training, I think he's come a long way. I think he's done amazing. It's just keeping the work up and keeping it going. And then if he was still tripping, my advice with he's got a square shoe on, but you could have the shoer set it back more and trim more of his toe off if you needed to. Let's talk to the farrier about that, but it's very nice. So last time he kind of gated into his canter some. That's okay. We got enough room. Let's go down here. Good boy. How about, I was going to turn to the left, but why? When your right was so bad. So I'm doing a turn on the forehand. Nice. And I did a 360, took you right off the trail. Okay. Canter. Don't let him go so you see what happens. So he just gets fast. It's how. Good job. So that was his left lead, so I just asked with my right leg. And now look. He's back to calm. So he's not nuts or anything. He just motored up there to get his canter. Good boy. Because I know some people are like, look what you got. But it was nice. There's a lot of horses get amped up. He just cantered up it. He motored up it. He did it very well. And then he went right back to like, okay, I'll just stand here. But if I wanted him to go slower, that was kind of a test. I wanted to see if he was going to take off or bolt or anything. If I want him to go slower, just every time my butt hits the saddle, I just half halt, half halt, half halt, kind of with that rhythm. Good boy. But that was a test, and that was good. So now let's go up the hill. Good job. Right? It's nice when you can canter a horse like that and then it comes back. Might not happen in a group. Horses get revved up. Look, nobody's in the parking lot. So I hear some bumps and he's not paying a lot of attention, so let's see. No, he's good. At least that's a good boy. I really like this horse. He's sweet, he's kind, he tries. He does what he can. He tries to do what he's supposed to. It's just like us. We can't make us into something else, but we can make a better version of it. Okay, so this has a bunch of rocks on it. I'm letting his head go down and like relaxing because I'm testing to see what he's going to do. Oh, very good. Good boy. So he hit one rock just there, but he didn't stumble. And I'm kind of letting him steer right now because I want to see if he can do, are you going over the rocks or around him? So he's going around them. And that just means like he's got shoes on, but he doesn't know the difference yet. So you go around and that tells you like, oh, my feet were probably sore. And he's going over them. He's doing fine. And pay attention. If your horse keeps going off the trail or they keep going to one side of the trail and you don't have shoes on, it can be because they're sore. Or if you do have shoes on, it could be they just have soles that are thin. That's what he had on his x-rays. And so, you know, the rocks are still hitting him. And then you can put shoes on and pads. They're stiffer than the boots usually, so give a little more support. Now we have a bunch of rocks sticking up, so he's been kind of paying attention and weaving around, going around the rocks. So there's a big one right in front of us. Oh, so he slipped on it, but he did not stumble. So he has figured out where he's supposed to go and put his feet. It's not perfect, but it's so much better. Right, so, no, I thought he was sleeping some of the time. He was paying attention. That was amazing. Good boy. So again, I'm kind of testing him now. Normally I wouldn't let them put their head down this far if they were really big trippers, but I know this sets them up more for tripping, and I was trying to see like how much these shoes make a difference, and well, they made a big difference because I wouldn't ride like this before, loose rein. So he's much better. He still needs little jobs to do and things to wake him up and pay attention, but now I just feel much safer that I could let him have his head sometimes where I wouldn't do that at all before. But it's much better. So, oh, unless my hands are in front of the camera. So when I do this, I let them put their head down for a while. I still make sure they're paying attention. And then I shorten back up. And we're going uphill anyhow. And what do we want to do? We want to work on your gait. So I'm going to take advantage of that. Okay. Again, each horse is different, but the pacey ones you usually have to pick up contact and get them set up to gait. Good job, buddy. He's like, I got this. I want to go home. Like, Mom, get me out of here. There's too much work here. So anytime there's a stump or something, like after that water, just slide the bit, because it'll just make him pay attention. He's now connected that when I do that, he's got to pick up his feet or listen to me. And otherwise, sometimes, he's big, he'll try to plow through something, that's when he's going to trip. So you're just trying to keep him slow over that stuff when it goes down and up, and then making sure he's rocking on his back end and picking his feet up. So there's an uphill coming up sooner or later. And what I'm going to do is start gaiting up it, and then see if we can get a couple canter steps out of it. I thought it was here, but it's not here. So here's a couple stumps, so I just slid the bit. But even on the flat, look how well he's gaiting now. He's got his head in the right position. He's stepping under himself. His head's going up and down. I just have to take contact on him. I think he's doing great. Okay, so we got the downhill little gully, and then it goes uphill. So again, all you people with the pacey horses, you make sure they stay slow down this. Now he's pulling a little bit. I'm going to lean back. I'm going to half halt, release, half halt, release, half halt, release, stop. Whoa. So I'm going to stop because he would have gotten into the pace right after that. So I want to stop and back him up. Then I'm going to go up the hill because it'll make it much nicer. See, now he's not pacing. He's gaiting well. Now I'm going to cluck. Good job, buddy. So, nice couple canter steps. Stayed in control. He did, whoop, I'm going to give him a little treat. He did pick up his left lead again, so he likes his left lead more out here, right? Don't drop those cookies there. Yeah, so I think he did amazing. He's one you can send back in training anytime because he's fun. Now he knows what to do. So I liked having him. He's a good boy. He didn't try to kill me. Did what he's supposed to. He learned. He's smart. But every little incline you get to, as long as he doesn't get lazy with you, he's going to speed up a little bit, because now he knows he's supposed to do that to practice his gait. And if you keep doing that, his gait's going to get better and better. Just keep his head down. So again, now a little incline. I didn't add any leg. He's just doing that because I repeated it over and over again. He's a smart horse, so he's like, she's going to tell me to go right now. And so I don't want you to get mad or anything at him. When you get to little inclines, he starts to speed up. That's what it is. It's working on his gait. And he's like, come on, let's work on our gait. So He knows exactly what he's supposed to do. So there's stumps sticking up, slid the bit. Now I'm just giving him the rein, because then he's responsible for his feet now. So this is the last tilt, the hill going home. So this one, I don't let them go very fast up, because again, we're heading home. But you can make them go slow and push with their back end. I can feel him driving. So it's so much better now. He's reaching underneath himself, and I can feel myself kind of getting shoved up the hill. So he is using the correct muscle, so he'll just get stronger and better if you keep it up. He's like, I'm supposed to stop. She dropped the reins. So, great job. Okay, so now what I'm going to try and do is videotape him walking with these shoes. So you guys can see if you see any difference. Good boy. There you go. Okay. And I'll hopefully be able to slow it down for you. You're too close. Try it one more time. Okay. Alright, that's it. Chocolate's going home.